Hello and welcome to the Falcon football pregame show. My name is Veronica and today I'm here with Marisol and Josh. Now today we are looking at Bowling Green and Akron as they set to take on some Tuesday night action. Now this is going to be Bowling Green's final home game of the season here in the Doit. Both teams, both BG and Akron, are coming off tough games last week, so let's see how they got here. Akron traveled to UMass last week, and the Zips were able to come away with a win. It was a pretty good game.
Oh, yeah.
We'll take a look at it here. So the Zips are entering tonight's game with kind of a lot of momentum. The big storyline from that game was two things: Akron's defense and just those takeaways that were changing the field position for them. UMass moved the ball well at times, but just Akron's ability to kind of create those two turnovers to make UMass pay is what ultimately carried them ahead in that game. Did you guys see anything in this game?
Yeah, and then also just looking at Akron's game versus Kent State, tough loss there. Drew DeShields threw a game-winning touchdown pass and beat the Zips in overtime. So another kind of not the impact or not the maybe outcome they were looking for, but as you said, they did have a great win against UMass.
Yeah, pretty good game. Also, Bowling Green versus Eastern Michigan. Bowling Green delivered one of their stronger games of the season. We'll take a look at how things looked here for Bowling Green. There were some pretty good individual efforts for that win. Jiron Johnson continues to be one of the most reliable receivers in the MAC. BG continues to show up to their games with confidence. Also last week, Austin Denty played one of the best games of his career.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, Denty's really showing out this season.
That's right. He's a young player, but he's really been impressing for the Falcons so far this year.
Yeah. And Jiron Johnson, he's leading the nation in receiving with one reception every game with one reception. He has a streak of 43 games.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that's especially impressive given the amount of inconsistency Bowling Green has had at the quarterback position. For your receiver to be able to have that much consistency is really impressive to see.
Yeah. So hopefully Bowling Green can keep playing with confidence with these players. However, one big problem for Bowling Green, their penalties.
Yeah.
Bowling Green was flagged 9 times for 103 yards against Eastern Michigan. 6 of those 9 penalties gave Eastern Michigan a first down.
And that's going to be an issue. I mean, allowing them to go and get a first down, you got to keep them back, and we just keep going backwards too. Like, that's just not what we need.
And that's been an issue for the Falcons really all year. They're second this season in the MAC in penalties, just behind Toledo. It hasn't affected Toledo nearly as much, obviously, given their standings in the MAC. But BG continues to have more and more penalties, and they just have to clean that up.
Yeah, in that game, Eastern Michigan only had 7 penalties for 65 yards. So big difference there between the two teams. Definitely what called the game there. Bowling Green also is 116th out of 134 teams in the FBS with their penalties per game. It's really just the biggest thing holding Bowling Green back as a team this season.
I think a lot of that can be attributed to a lack of communication on offense. Like we said, the quarterback carousel for them, just injuries, things you can't necessarily predict or control, but those are things that have caused them to have some lacks of communications as well as a coaching change. For Bowling Green this season, I think maybe those things you'll see Bowling Green tighten up on next year. But this year, I would love to see them make some strides towards fixing that before the season ends.
Yeah, Bowling Green's also riding a lot of highs, especially from last week. Austin Denty, like we said, had a career day. He had 21 carries, 113 yards, and 2 touchdowns against Eastern Michigan in that game. Like we said, he's really improving on the season. Not only just in that game, but past games with all of these carries and yards that he's accumulating here. Jiron Johnson also added 4 catches for 36 yards and had a touchdown in that game. Like we said, he's extending now his nation-leading streak to 43 straight games with the reception.
And yeah, despite how the offense has struggled a little bit, Jiron Johnson obviously doing his thing. But Austin Dendy getting the run game going for Bowling Green is huge, considering that besides Jaron Johnson, they've really been struggling with the pass game. So that's something that's really big for Bowling Green's offense.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, with all the quarterbacks are going through, for them to be able to pull out those big numbers and the consistency that they're having this season, really goes to show their effort and work that they're putting in. And then coming up after the break, we'll look at the lay of the land around the MAC. We'll look where every team stands and our updated bowl predictions. We'll see you soon. Welcome back. Let's take a look at the MAC and see where things are heading into Week 13. So, with last week's results, Bowling Green's bowl dreams have officially slipped away. And so while Bowling Green won't get a bowl game this year, I think that these last 2 games are still important. Just giving some of these younger players some reps in the season before going into the offseason, especially since we had said the Falcons have gone through 4 quarterbacks this year. They are the only team in FBS program to do so in 2025.
Yeah, and for Bowling Green, obviously, big picture-wise, they haven't had the season that they wanted. They had bowl hopes, and obviously, like you said, that's over. I think I agree with you that they just have to find small victories and continue to make this a productive season, despite the fact that their larger goals haven't been met.
Yeah, and across the MAC, other teams are projected to have bowl games. Here we're looking at Toledo. They're projected to meet Boise State in the Arizona Bowl. Miami of Ohio is matched up with Rutgers in the game above Sports Bowl in Detroit. And Ohio is projected for the famous Idaho Potato Bowl against New Mexico. Central Michigan is expected to face Marshall in the Cure Bowl in Orlando. And Buffalo is projected to take on Kenshaw State in the Bahamas Bowl. So besides Bowling Green, a lot of these other MAC teams are getting some bowl action so far this season.
Yeah, love to see them travel outside of the Mid-American Conference a little bit. Maybe get, especially that Bahamas action is going to be really
That'll
nice.
That'll be fun.
Also want to give a shout, Kent State, I don't think they're officially eliminated from contention. It's unlikely they'll actually make it to a bowl game, but historically Kent State has not been that team. So really good to see them have themselves a little season.
Yeah. We'll see how well these teams do in these bowl games and if they make it any farther. Now looking at our trivia question, we're asking, what year did Bowling Green football last have an undefeated regular football season? Up next, we'll look at a full preview of Bowling Green and Akron, including tonight's impact players and keys to the game for both teams. We'll see you soon.
Dear moms and dads, we know it's not always been easy, and it's been a lot of hard work. What you have achieved here today is going to help us and our futures. It is why we are coming up on stage to collect your diplomas. Everything I do it for you. Mom, love you always. No, it's true. Everything I do it for
When you graduate, they graduate. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you.
Welcome back. Let's break down how Bowling Green and Akron match up statistically leading into this game tonight. So, Bowling Green leads 21-10 against Akron in these games. Points per game, Akron has 22.5, where Bowling Green only has 18.5. Total points, we're looking at Akron 248 and Bowling Green 185. However, Bowling Green is leading in touchdowns 20-19. In penalty ties and yards, Bowling Green is ahead on those penalties there as well. like we mentioned those penalties before, they're really the biggest thing holding Bowling Green back. They were pretty close statistically in all those other numbers, but those penalties are what's setting them apart in that discipline there.
Yeah, I think that's right. You saw there a lot of the stats look pretty similar, but these teams have had vastly different stories this season compared to their expectations, especially. So for Bowling Green, it really is proving to be the little things, because you can see there's not a lot of difference in some of those statistics, but the little things do add up, like you said, and they do matter. I'd love to see for Bowling Green to fix some of those mistakes tonight.
Yeah. And looking now at some impact players for both Akron and Bowling Green. For Akron, we're looking at Ben Finley, quarterback. Ben has kind of their key to their passing attack. Also, their defensive back, Malcolm DeWalt, has been a big playmaker in improving their secondary. As you can see, Ben Finley here showing some of his skills there on offense.
Yeah, and Ben Finley's having a great year. Something to note, he's been sacked 27 times this season, which is second in the MAC. He was sacked 6 times against Kent State, but he's still producing at a very high level given that fact. So that makes you wonder, is it more of his decision making or is it the O-line that needs to protect him? Those will be keys to look at for Ben Finley tonight.
Of course.
And yeah, and also overall, Finley has 2,299 yards and 18 touchdowns. I mean, 8 interceptions, yeah, but like that's still not horrible.
Yeah. Also, looking at Malcolm DeWalt, their defensive back. As you can see there on the screen, some of the action there he's getting there.
Yeah, he is quick, he is athletic, and BG's offense, or BG has struggled with their passing game, so Malcolm DeWalt being a defensive back has a lot of chances to disrupt and continue that trend for Bowling Green. That will prove to be a difficult matchup for them. That's why he's one of the key players.
Of course. Also, now some keys to the game for Bowling Green and Akron. Bowling Green, they need to be aggressive early. Start this game kind of how they did last week, and I think they'll have some more potential leading into this game against Akron. And just kind of controlling the line of scrimmage as well. Some things that they need to work on, but if they can do those things, I think early in the game, I think they have a good chance tonight against Akron.
Yeah, and no, go ahead. Yeah.
I was like, also just keep those penalties down. As we know, I mean, BG has a huge problem with that, but BG just got to keep them down this
Check
time.
their quarterback as well.
That's right. Yeah, we've talked about the little things. I think a 4-game losing streak for Bowling Green is not a great feeling. They're coming back to the Dwight Perry Fieldhouse, and I'm thinking that they're going to want to turn around this season, try to get a couple wins. I think in order to do that, they should take advantage of this deflated Akron team. They just come off a tough loss last week. They need to feed Austin Dendy, in my opinion. The run game needs to continue, obviously. Akron has had a hard time, or defends drives very well, but Austin Dendy has been great for the Falcons so far this year. I think if they feed him early and get him going, that'll open up a lot of other things for their offense.
Yeah, and Akron, I think they really need to test BG secondary there. Also, just a lot of their keys revolve around pushing the ball vertically and testing BG, but also just continuing to take away those big takeaways that they had last week. Those are big plays for them.
That's right. And like we were talking about, Ben Finley, super talented quarterback. He's a senior. Protecting him on the offensive line will be huge. Like I said, he was sacked 6 times. He's been sacked more than almost any quarterback in the MAC. Protecting him so he can make the reads that he's used to making is going to be a big key for them.
Yeah. Up next, we're going to look at game day picks around the MAC. Plus, we're going to answer tonight's trivia question. Once again, our trivia question is, what year did Bowling Green have its last undefeated regular football season? We'll answer that when we get back.
How to control the flames. What to do with hot coals. How to secure your chains. But I can only teach wildfire prevention. Only you can prevent wildfires.
Welcome back. Before we get into our tonight's game day picks, we're going to answer our trivia question. So we asked, what year did Bowling Green have its last undefeated regular football season? The answer, 1985. Under head coach Denny Stoltz, the team was averaging 29.6 points per game.
That's a lot, and that's good. They also had a statement victory at Kentucky, and that was an SEC team. So I think, SEC and then MAC, I think it's an interesting matchup, and we beat them. So.
Yeah, and I think it's worth mentioning also that along with those 29.6 points per game, they only allowed 18.6. So there was an 11-point margin of victory for them. Just a dominant season. There's a reason that hasn't been replicated in 40 years.
They were under quarterback Brian McClure, and he had 2,674 passing yards that season, along with running back Bernard White. He powered the ground game with 949 rushing yards. So they were a pretty dominant offense there.
Yeah.
I think that really leads to their undefeated season there.
And then, their undefeated season did come to an end when they did go to the California Bowl, where they fell to Fresno State, unfortunately.
But they did have a good run there. Now looking at our game day picks for this week's matchups. First off, we have UMass at Ohio. I'm going to go with Ohio on this one. I think that they're kind of the more complete team, especially at home. I think it's going to be easier for them to kind of control the tempo of this game.
Yeah, and I also picked Ohio. I agree. I think they have a more complete and stronger. They have a stronger defense and offense overall.
I also picked Ohio. This one feels kind of a no-brainer. UMass is 0-10. There's no end in sight. They've given up 40-plus in 6 games this season, and Ohio's offense has scored 24-plus in 3 of their last 4. So a spiraling team with a poor defense against a team with a good offense, I think this pick is pretty simple.
Looking at Northern Illinois and Western Michigan, I'm going to have to go with Northern Illinois on this one. They're a very physical team, extremely tough at home, and I think that late in the season they've been the more reliable team.
I picked Western Michigan on this one. I think they have a very strong offense, which might be able to just go over Northern Illinois, so we'll see.
Yeah, I agree with Marisol. My pick is Western Michigan. Their offense has just been elite, like you said. The passing game has been there, and Brock Lowry, their quarterback, has been just dynamic for them, leading them in both passing and rushing. I think he'll take advantage of the Northern Illinois defense, and they'll get the dub.
Looking at Miami at Buffalo, I'm going with Miami on this one. I think that their defense is extremely consistent, very powerful defense, and they're really good at forcing opponents kind of into those uncomfortable situations there in those games.
I'm going to have to go against you again, and I picked Buffalo on this one. I think they have another strong defense, and it is a home game for Buffalo, so maybe just they have that home field advantage.
That's right. Yeah, we're on the same page. I also picked Buffalo. We're linked so far. I think Buffalo takes care of business at home. Like you said, I think they're going to pull this one out. Might be close, but I got Buffalo.
And then Central Michigan at Kent State. I'm pretty confidently choosing Central Michigan here. I think they've had a pretty steady offense, and they end up finishing their drives a lot better than Kent State has so far this season.
I did pick Central Michigan on this one, like you did too. I agree. They have a strong offense. I think that's just what's going to get it done.
Yeah, they've been rolling, and Kent State has picked up a couple surprising wins this season, but I think their luck runs out, and I think Central Michigan gets the win.
And Ball State at Toledo. So I'm going to go with Toledo on this one. They're at home. They have that home field advantage. And I think they're one of the best teams so far this season in the MAC. So it's kind of hard for me to pick against them.
Yeah, I picked Toledo as well. I said they're a more solid team overall. And like you said, home field advantage. That's just what's probably going to get it done.
Yeah, Toledo, obviously they've played great at home. Also worth noting, Ball State is 0-5 on the road so far this year. And Toledo is, 5-1 in MAC play, losing only that game to Bowling Green with that historic comeback. I think Toledo gets it done.
And lastly, Akron at Bowling Green, which is tonight's game. I'm going with Bowling Green. You know, I think that the Falcons, if they can limit those penalties and if they can start the game tonight fast like they did last week, I think that they're going to be a pretty strong team tonight at home.
I actually did pick Akron on this one. With BG's quarterback issues, I think that Drew Pine hasn't played as much as he thought he would. So I think that's kind of just maybe a little bit of an issue. And then if Akron can get their passing game going, they might just have that leg up against BG. And then penalties on BG, those might just kind of break them at the end.
Yeah, I think I'm actually going to pick Bowling Green. I think they're going to bounce back. They've lost 4 in a row. Definitely trying to gather some momentum. They've had some time off. I think they'll be fresh. I think they're going to come after Akron and get a win at home.
Perfect. Well, that'll do it for us tonight for the Falcon Football Pregame Show. Thank you guys for being here.
Of course.
Kickoff between Bowling Green and Akron tonight is at 7 p.m. here in the Deutsch. From all of us, thank you for watching.